Examples: floating point number, characters, numerical data, and operations that can be performed on your data types. That can be your addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So data types can consist of set of data. Operations that can be performed on data is known as data types normally. Then we have data structures. Structure defines some set of rules. For example, if you want to build a structure of a molecule in chemistry, it has several rules for defining its structure that hold that data together in some manner. So basically, in structure, we are organizing a data according to a certain rules in some manners. If we take a combination of data and fit them into a structure such that we can define its relating rules, we have made a data structure. So it's an aggregation of atomic and composite data. Atomic means single, atomic means single type of data, and composite means mixed kind of data into a set of defined relationship. It is an aggregation of atomic and composite data into a set of defined relationship. So basically, when we discuss about data structure, we mainly have to focus on data along with the structures. So while defining data, we have to follow several kind of structures for organizing the data in a proper manner. So moving towards the next, data structure examples are simple. Suppose we are considering arrays, as you all are aware of what an array, homogeneous sequence of data or data types. Example is given int AR5. As we all know, array consists of fixed size once it is declared, and records can be heterogeneous combination of data. For example, structure that you have already studied in imperative programming or C++ program. Record. So data structure has its own data types or own types as compared to other data types. So data structure is basically a combination of elements in which element is either of data type or another data structure. Set of association or relationship, that will be your structures, exists in the combined elements. So this book or PPTs I am referring, it is directly downloaded from educlass.com. You can directly download, don't worry. So I have another PDF of data structure. This is a university reference book given by Mumbai University. So you can see this syllabus is in detail. You can refer this book. So data and information plays a crucial role in modern day computing. So what is the data? It is an unprocessed information or raw information. So when you process the data, it transfer into information. Basically, data structure can be classified into three main types: linear and non-linear data structures, static and dynamic data structures, homogeneous and non-homogeneous data structure. Once we define linear and non-linear data structure, in linear we have each and everything in a sorted manner or in a linear order. Then we have static and dynamic data structure. Static defines a fixed structure, and dynamic data structure, it can be changed. Then we have homogeneous and non-homogeneous data structures. So basically, in homogeneous structure, it is similar kind of thing, but in non-homogeneous data structure, it is of heterogeneous data structure. So basically, data structure can be divided into a linear data structure. Example of linear data structure are your arrays, linked list, stack, and queue. Because in arrays, linked list, stack, and queue, we have to define data in a linear fashion. In non-linear data structure, it can be your tree and graph. You don't have to define this data structure in a linear manner. So note it down, draw this diagram if possible. Done? If done, raise your hand. So data structure mainly divided into three types: linear data structure, non-linear data structure. Then we have static and dynamic data structure. and homogeneous and non-homogeneous data structures. So done. Raise your hand. Instead of writing, if not possible to write, then take a screenshot of this so you can have it for a later reference. So static and dynamic data structure, basically. Static means once you define anything, it is not able to change that execution of that data structure. For example of this static data structure, we have array. You all are aware of what is an array. Once array size is defined or declared, it cannot be changed throughout its execution of that array. In dynamic data structure, we have linked list. Note it down. Example of static data structure is your array. In dynamic data structure, we have linked list. In homogeneous and non-homogeneous data structure, homogeneous we have array, because array is a collection of elements having similar data type or similar kind of structures. Then we have non-homogeneous data structure, that is your linked list. So this linked list and array falls into two categories. Basically, it is also static. You can say array is a static homogeneous data structure, and linked list is your dynamic non-homogeneous data structure. So while discussing concept of data types, it can be divided into two types majorly. Primitive data types, that will be your initial kind of data types, and second is abstract data types. What are your abstract data types? Basically, when we refer any data type as an abstract data type, we don't have to think about its implementation. We just using that data type instead of its implementation. Primitive data types use your predefined data types, basic data types, float, double, and so on. Abstract data types, it is necessary to understand apart from detailed specification or implementation, we are just using instead of its implementation. So I know this PDF is blur little bit because it is scanned with CAM scanner, I guess. So in abstract data types, we have two concepts: encapsulation, that we have already discussed, I think so, in object-oriented programming. So it is providing data and operation on the right data in a single unit. What is an encapsulation? We are wrapping or encapsulating or covering multiple unit into a single unit. For example, take an example of your wafer packet, any wafer packet or any multiple things that can be organized into a single structure. So multiple wafers can be put in that packet, and wrapper is wrapped around that wafer. So that is your encapsulation. So internal part is hidden outside the world. Then we have abstraction. When we using abstraction, hiding the details of implementation. For example, class in C++ or in Java exhibit what it does through its method, but the detail is hidden from the user. Suppose I am taking any class. For example, I am taking a class add. So I am adding 2 or 3 numbers, then just referencing that third number with 2 or first number. So this entire definition is hidden from its object unless and until you are extracting or invoking that class with the help of its derived object. Then we have data structure and file organization. What are the benefits of data structure? It is given. So short description of various data structure is there. Array is a very simple kind of data structure. Basically, it is static kind of homogeneous data structure. A1, A2. See, array always start with 0 indexing 0, and then it can move towards the n number of or fixed size of array. How to determine the size of an array A? Remember this formula or note it down. Size of an array A can be given by UB minus LB plus 1. I repeat, UB minus LB plus 1. That will be your upper bound minus lower bound plus 1. Upper bound minus lower bound plus 1. Now consider this example. It is a one-dimensional array having 5 elements ranging from index 0 to 4. Index 0 to 4. So at index 0, we have data store as Amit. At index 1, we have Jatin. Index 2, we have Rajesh. index 3 Naveen, and index 5 index 4, sorry, Sonia. So if I want to refer a student named Rajesh, then my indexation will be 0, 1 and 2. 2 will be that position. So array notation, it will define as 3. So here they have given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight away. But remember, array index should start with 0 only. So instead of 0, 1, it has to be 0. Here 1, 2, 3 and 4. So these concepts are universal concept. It cannot be changed any kind or any type. Then we have linked list. Linked list is nothing but a reference of linear collection of data elements. So basically here we have a node and reference to a next node. See, here we are using beginning and just a reference to a node. This is your starting node, next node, next node, next node, and this is your last node. How to identify last node? A node having null reference, or it is not redirecting towards any other data, other node, that will be your last node of that linked list. Done. Linked list is clear. Any problem? Just raise your hand so I can get a confirmation. So linked list is just referring address of a next node, nothing else. Then we have stack. Stack is a last in first out data structure. Last in first out data structure. For example, in a book rack or a CD rack or CD deck, instead, the last CD you put it on that deck or a rack, so that can be taken out first. So that is your stack. Or you can consider your tiffin. Suppose you are putting any rotis, first roti, second, third and fourth. The last roti will be removed first. So that is your last in first out collection of data elements. So remember, this stack comes under last in first out. But queue, that is your queue. It is blur here, don't worry. Queue is properly known as first in first out. So you can take any example of queue. Queue for taking a train ticket or railway ticket. So the person that enters first, that will be given a priority and it will be outed first. First in first out. It's not like you are entering in a queue in a last and just going in front of first person standing at the queue. It's not like that. So stack and queue is exactly opposite to each other. Then we have tree. It is a non-linear kind of data structure basically. So see this John, Anna, Jimmy, Simon, Smith, Harris and Allen. These are the nodes or trees. John is having 2 children, Anna and Jimmy. Then Anna is having 2 children, Simon and Smith. Simon is not having any subnode or children. Then we have Anna having Smith. Jimmy is having Harris and Allen. So this last node, it is this John is root node. This is your normal children of that root node. These are the siblings of each other, Anne and Jimmy. Then we have Simon and Smith are sibling, Harris and Allen are sibling, and this is your leaf node. What is a leaf node basically? A node which is not having any child specifically, that will be your leaf node. Done. Family tree. Then we have graph. This is a non-linear kind of data structure used to represent a data having relationships among its elements which are not necessarily hierarchical in nature. For example, here a graph of 5 cities connected by roads: Pathankot, Amritsar, Chandigarh, Jalandhar and Ludhiana. These 5 cities are in Punjab, so they can be connected with each other by different roads. So this is your graph. So operations on data structure can be done. Lots of operation you can perform. Just note it down. Insertion. You can add a new element into data structure, is known as insertion, which is very simple thing. Then we have deletion. You can delete any element from data structure, is deletion. Then we have traversing, and then we have searching. Now what is the difference in between traversing and searching? What is the difference in between traversing and searching? In traversing, accessing, we have to access each and every element at least once. remember, in traversing, we have to access or visit each element at least once, but in searching, we can directly find the desired element at a particular position. Then we have merging. Merging is nothing but joining or combining two or more lists into a single list. It is not merging. Then splitting, which is exactly opposite to your merging. In splitting, you can split or divide that single list into two or more lists. Then we are copying. Creating a duplicate copy of a list is known as copy creation. Then we are sorting. Either you can sort that elements either in ascending order or descending order. So note down the operation that can be performed on your data structures. First is insertion, then we have deletion, then we have traversing, then we have searching, merging, splitting, copying and sorting. I repeat: insertion, deletion, traversing, searching, merging, splitting, copying and sorting. Done. Now then we have algorithm. What is an algorithm? Basically, it is an step-by-step execution of finite steps. I repeat, it is an execution, step-by-step execution of finite steps. Once you start an algorithm, it has to be ended. So first step of algorithm is start, then moving towards the next operation, and it can be ended with stop. So input has to be there for an algorithm. Then we have process in between, what kind of process can be done. Then we have output of that algorithm. Then we have finiteness. I repeat it, I have told you algorithm is a instruction or executed step by step, so it is a finite set of steps. Then we have effectiveness. Suppose I want to design an algorithm in such a way that user will enter a number and it will find its factorial. So if that algorithm is not producing the desired output or desired result, then that algorithm is not that much effective. Then we have importance of algorithm analysis, data, instruction to manipulate data, and algorithm. We have programming requirements of an algorithm, time requirement of an algorithm, and space requirement of an algorithm. Now these are the factors that can affect your complexity of your algorithm. What amount of time required for an algorithm, what kind of space or what amount of space is required for an building an algorithm. These are the programming requirements for algorithm, which can use to calculate your algorithm complexity. So this can be calculated using big omega notation and other notation, which we will be learning in next or next to next chapter on. Then we have space requirement for an algorithm or of an algorithm. Space required by data. Data can consume several space. Space required by an instruction. Instructions can be executed. Time requirement. Complexity of algorithm is mainly dependent upon its time and space requirement of an algorithm. So basically, complexity of an algorithm, we have three cases: worst case complexity, best case complexity, average case complexity. What is the worst case complexity? When time and space requirement is more, that is your worst case complexity. When time and space require is less, that is your best complexity. And the average case is your somewhere in between worst case and best case, that is your average case complexity. Note it down: worst case, best case and average case. So we'll be discussing this concept again when we'll take revision of this. Don't worry. There is a concept called asymptotic analysis and notation. So these are the notation that can be used with algorithm analysis. So don't worry. Out of this, you have only big O notation that can be asked for your examination. It is nothing but a plotting of a running time against your variables. Then we have big omega notation and all that. So for today's lecture, we'll be discussing about data structure. What is a data structure basically? Examples of data structures. What is an algorithm? What is a pseudocode? You don't have pseudocode basically. In algorithm, we have input output definiteness, sorry, finiteness. Then we have effectiveness. Pseudocode is written for algorithm. Analysis of algorithm can be done by using time requirement and space requirement. Algorithm efficiency can be calculated using number of instruction times or space it consumes. See, space complexity and time complexity is very important aspect of your algorithm analysis in terms of complexity calculation. Then we have space complexity, amount of memory needed by a program up to completion of execution. Space needed by program, there is a instruction space. In that we have data space, environment stack space. These are very advanced concept basically. In time complexity, we have amount of time program needs to be run to completion. So we'll be studying this in detail in upcoming lectures. Asymptotic analysis. Take a screenshot of this. It is given in different way here. In that book, it is in different. It basically defines behavior of algorithm as their input approaches infinite amounts. So it explains how the input size affect the running time of your algorithm. So this kind of notation. Okay. So you'll be getting these notes. Don't worry. Both PPT and this PDF.